So today, we're taking a deep dive into a community earning program called Growconjoint. Now, they're making a pretty bold claim that they've actually solved one of the biggest, most common problems you see in these kinds of online earning models. We're going to get into the mechanics of it and see exactly how this whole thing is supposed to work.
Here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the big problem they say they've fixed. Then, we're going to follow your first $100 through their new vertical system, see how your accounts start to multiply, and break down the two different ways you can earn. And finally, we'll get into their long-term vision, this self-sustaining endgame. All right, first things first. To really get what Growconjoint is trying to do, you have to understand the problem they're trying to fix. And it's a pretty well-known weakness, a real Achilles heel for a lot of online programs, especially these auto pools where money from new people joining is often what pays the people who joined earlier. And this is it. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What on earth happens when the well runs dry? When new people just stop signing up. According to the source material, this is the fatal flaw. The moment that stream of new members slows down, the entire engine can just grind to a halt, and it's pretty much game over. So how do they claim to solve this massive problem? Well, their answer is a total shift in the structure. They call it a new vertical model. The idea is to move away from what you might picture as a wide, flat pyramid to something more like a deep, sturdy pull. And here's their core argument in a nutshell. You've got the old way, the horizontal model, which they describe as this wide, kind of fragile pyramid that absolutely needs a constant flood of new people just to stay afloat. Their alternative, the vertical model, is designed to be deep, not wide, with the goal of being way more self-sufficient. Okay, so here's the first piece of that puzzle, the vertical auto pool. And this is a huge shift. Forget about those complicated, sprawling matrices. Instead, just picture this. Everybody gets into one single line. That's it. Kind of like you're waiting to get into a concert. You get your spot, and every single person who joins after you from anywhere in the world just lines up right behind you. Simple, right? So if that single vertical line is the frame of the car, then these four things are the engine. These are the gears that are supposed to make the whole thing go and keep it going. You've got auto rebirth, reinvestment, compounding, and then the underlying math that ties it all together. The whole idea is that these parts work together, constantly feeding each other, in what's designed to be a kind of perpetual motion machine. All right, Siri is great, but let's get our hands dirty. Let's follow the money. We're going to trace the exact path of your initial $100 entry, step by step, to see how it moves through the system. Now, here's a crucial point the source material really emphasizes: simplicity. They say it's just a single, one-time payment of $100. That's it. No hidden upgrades, no extra levels you have to buy into later on. They claim this is the only cost to get in the door. So here's what happens. The second you're in, that $100, poof, it's instantly split into two separate $50 accounts for you. Your first account gets into that global line we talked about, and then you just wait. Once three other accounts from literally anywhere in the world land in line behind you, bam, your first cycle is officially complete. Okay, pay close attention because this is probably the most important part of the entire machine. When you complete that cycle, it generates $120. But here's the kicker. You don't take all of that home. Only $20 is actual withdrawable cash. The other $100, the exact amount you started with, is automatically, and I mean automatically, reinvested right back into the system. It's not optional. And that automatic reinvestment, well, that's the secret sauce. This is where that power of compounding really starts to kick in. See, the goal isn't just about earning that $20 over and over. It's about how that reinvestment actually multiplies your presence inside the system. That $100 that gets put back in, it doesn't just go into a pot. Nope. It instantly creates two brand new $50 accounts with your name on them. They call this an auto rebirth. You've basically just cloned yourself in the system, doubling your footprint. And this creates a really powerful doubling effect. Think about it. You start with 2 accounts. After your first cycle, now you have 4. Then the next cycle, you have 8. Then 16. And it just keeps going. With every single cycle, your total number of accounts in the system doubles. This is the engine that's supposed to create that exponential growth. Okay, so this whole system is turning. Accounts are multiplying. But how do you actually make money? Well, it's all designed to generate income for you in 2 very different ways. One is totally passive, and the other is active. So the first stream is called representative income, and that's the passive one. It's generated automatically as your own accounts do their thing. The second one, sponsor income, is the active one. This is what you earn when you refer other people to the platform. So let's look at that first one, the representative income. This is the hands-off method. Remember that $20 withdrawable piece from each cycle? This is it. You get that $20 every single time one of your accounts completes a cycle. And that's key. It doesn't matter if it's one of your first 2 accounts or one of the hundreds that get created later on. An account completes a cycle, you get $20.
All right, now for income stream number 2, sponsor income. This is the active part, what you get for referring people. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The company materials actually say this is where the real long-term money is. And that might sound a little weird, right? Because it's only $5 for each cycle your referral completes. So what's the deal? Okay, here's the logic behind that little $5 commission. You earn it not just on your referrals' first 2 accounts, but on every single new account they create through that auto-rebirth process. So as their accounts double with each cycle, so does your commission. That $5 on their first cycle becomes 10 on their next, then 20, then 40. Your income from just one single referral is designed to grow exponentially right alongside theirs. Okay, so we've seen how this is supposed to work for you as an individual. Now let's zoom out. What's the long-term vision here? How is this whole thing supposed to last? And what do they say about managing the risk for people who join? One of the key terms they use is semi-decentralized. So what does that actually mean? Well, think of it like this. The core engine, the transactions, the cycles, all that runs automatically on a blockchain. But unlike a fully decentralized system where there's nobody in charge, they've built in what they call a safety net. Admins can apparently step in and help with user support issues. So it's kind of a hybrid approach. And what about risk? That's the big question for anyone, right? Well, a huge claim they make is that you can earn back your initial $100 investment relatively quickly. The system is supposedly designed so that once about 21 global accounts have joined that line after you, you will have earned $100 in withdrawable cash, effectively breaking even on your entry fee. And all of this leads to their big endgame. They call it the saturation point, and they even put a number on it, somewhere between 35 and 40,000 active users. The theory is that once they hit that magic number, the system becomes a closed loop. The sheer volume of internal account rebirths will be enough to keep the engine running all by itself, supposedly forever. And this quote from their materials really sums up that ultimate promise. A system on auto mode, where people will continue earning indefinitely. It's a really compelling vision of a perpetual financial engine, all built on this foundation of automatic reinvestment and exponential growth. The critical question, of course, is whether the math can truly sustain that promise in the real world. And that's the core of the Growconjoint model.